Hey guys, we are headed into Philadelphia for the Philadelphia Flower Show. As we got into the city, you could already see some beautiful containers and beautiful art along the streets. And can we talk about this architecture? My word. We took a tour of this. This is City Hall, right downtown. I was absolutely in love with this building. Some fun plantings in the courtyard, no dogs in the flower bed. Wish we could say that here. Saw some beautiful magnolias and some underplantings, and I could not get enough of these containers for winter interest, filled with leucothea and some other items as well. What I found interesting was they had this beautiful winter interest display garden right outside of City Hall. You were able to walk in it, sit there, relax. They even had this awesome board here to tell you all of the plants that were in the display. This area was just really filled with a lot of great ideas, and I loved these Scotch brooms. I'm definitely going to be adding some. And of course, Coke Zero is the better tasting Coke. Yuliya got into town, so we finally met her outside the hotel and headed downtown for a little bit. And after dinner, we were treated to our hotel bar, and she got me a birthday gift. Next day, we were on our way to the flower show, so of course, I had to match the theme. Flowered shirt, looking good. Beautiful art, graffiti work throughout the city. This guy was killing us. He was covered in flowers, that big hat, and directing traffic to make sure that people could get over to the convention center. Here's a close-up. Inside the convention center, you could really feel the energy. Yuliya got noticed. Yuliya! And we ended up starting the day over in the marketplace where you could find a number of hand-curated items, which was really cool. Lots of houseplants. So if you're looking for something, it's there. I ended up purchasing a print from Aaron here and a couple of the stickers because I like to place them on my seed starting boxes. And he was actually working on a watercolor right there. The front displays are cut flowers with underplanting of live flowers, and of course we had to take a minute and get our pictures taken there. Really beautiful, really colorful, as you can see. And as you come further into the main entrance of the show, it is covered from head to toe in flowers, literally. I was taken back with the amount of variety of flowers. A lot of stuff that you wouldn't see locally being grown, but these lily vines, I actually purchased one after the show. What I really liked about this area was the kangaroo paws there on the right hand side, and this beautiful display of just some spring blooms of the Fothergilla. You can see here Flora Struck is the show entrance name. Really great display of just a wide variety of plants. Love the color combo here. Those are called pincushion flowers. I've seen them, but I didn't know what they were actually called. And then some roses back there. And as you look behind you, there's a bunch of alliums going up and over the entrance. You know I saw that coneflower right there. I believe it's Hula Dancer. Now I cannot remember what these were called, but they are big moss balls with the plants planted into them and some cut flowers also added to them to give them some extra drama. And this is when the show really began for us because all the lights started changing. These are LED strip lights that are zip tied together and put on, I believe, some type of like custom stand. But it just got really, really cool. The colors of the plants really got enhanced in this situation. But we thought, man, what these look really, really cool in our backyard somehow. So, time to do some research on a DIY if we can do this. If there's outdoor waterproof strips like this, I definitely will be trying it. I also fell in love with this hardy citrus tree. I'm going to be looking for a spot. Now, as you exit that, you're going to be coming into more of the display gardens. And to the right there is a moon garden, I believe, display. It was interesting. I don't really understand what I was looking at. I really did not read the sign too well, I'll be honest, but it was pretty nonetheless. The next display garden was cram-packed full of spring blooms. Just really got you excited, and also had this beautiful stream that went through the entire display. You could walk into most of the display gardens there. Lines were so long, would be very hard to capture video or pictures without slowing down the line, so I mostly stayed outside of everything. Look at this fun little fish. Next one is Susan Cohen Gardens. We were really excited to see this, me and Yuliya. Very well put together, edited design, displaying fringe trees, I believe. I'm pretty sure those are fringe trees, and orange azaleas. Beautiful lawn just covered with spring ephemerals and bulbs. She won multiple awards. Could not get enough. I love cordon steel and rock work together. This next display was a very, very tropical. Would look amazing at a hotel or at a wedding, maybe without the water feature part, but it would be really cool. I love the combination here of the salvia and the nicotiana. This garden as well was covered in emerging spring blooms, new foliage, plants coming into spring. Really get you excited. This one also you could walk in. And then this guy, how beautiful is that stained glass? I loved the Mahonia. Yeah, that's what it is. Mahonia that was in here. I planted some, but this one's not hardy enough for me. I'm not quite sure who the designer is on this one, but it was really cool. But tons of people were in front of it. Oh, there it is, actually Building Mystery. Next one is Schaefer Designs called Eye Candy. This had a really, really long line as well. One thing I can say is this was very partitioned off to where you had to get in line for everything. This was the display that I actually finally noticed that there was some stuff on the billboards that they were using to talk about the gardens. This one, me and Rob pulled a lot of inspiration from. We liked the birch branches coming up through the gazebo awning type of thing they had built here. So we were thinking about how we could implement this type of design to our patio. I was immediately drawn to a plant in here, this orange flowering plant. I'm not quite sure what it is, so if you know, let me know in the comments below. I would greatly appreciate it. As you come further into the display, there are beautiful reflection pools with carex and salvias, hostas, and I believe those are maybe some arborescent hydrangeas back there. Really like the floating bowl as well. Here's that orange flower again. Please let me know what it is. Really enjoyed seeing a lot of the actual awards that they were given, and I fell in love with this moss wall. I would like to do something like this for outside. As you come around, you immediately go into a tropical section, which is really neat. They had some hanging bamboo with plants on them. This really caught our eye. This beautiful chandelier. It had flowers in it, but I wouldn't say it was flower heavy. And of course, I noticed there was a big ottoman in the middle, so I had to get a view from underneath. The next display, Newfields Gardens, was really pretty. A lot of interest, a lot of color.
This does smell like popcorn. Millianthus.
No, a couple weeks ago. As you come out of this garden, you begin to enter into a video and music experience. Just outside of that, you are able to take a picture in this really cool lit display. It has glass flowers and wires and all types of goodies. And then there's this paper mache light up gremlin type of setup. I couldn't quite explain it any other way. Rainbow of flowers coming out of spilled wine barrels. Everybody knew this display and were taking pictures. A storybook theme here. She lost herself within the pages of the story and discovered a garden filled with possibilities. And just beyond that was this display, and I legit thought that was a real person at the gate. It was a mannequin. Startled me a bit. This Cresspedia sun, I couldn't get enough of. I thought it was so cool. Each of these were done in a specific color theme. Really interesting, very artsy. They even had one here at the very end done in cinnamon sticks, and they were very large cinnamon sticks. And I thought it was cool that even they thought to do a brown display. And then right at one of the corners I noticed, right before we left, there was black and white. I'll be honest with this, I did not read the sign, so I don't really know the story behind it, but I would assume that tree roots are brains and think and communicate. Say hi, Brooke.
Oh, hi! Look.
So obviously we met up with Brooke, the vintage gardener, for the rest of the show. This is Mama's hat. This one I did get a picture of the sign. This was an interesting display using reused and recycled materials. They had a sign listing all of the materials that were used in this display. But really what caught my eye in it was the dripping rock cliff. I'm curious to know if this was done with like cement or foam. Be really cool to maybe do in our own garden. A palette so bright and so cheery. A lot of tropicals were on display in these gardens. This one, I really liked the idea of it, but if you were to really look at the plants and know your plants, you would realize that none of this is going to layer properly, and it would be completely out of control. I did like the path in it. I thought that was kind of cute, the circles, but I could not help but notice that if this garden was left to grow in without heavy pruning, it would be a disaster. Blue was the theme here. This one had a interesting mannequin draped in a beautiful dress with flowers down the front. Again, you can see a lot of tropicals being used here. And then a double wall back-to-back display of all gardening tools used currently and from the past, which I think was really interesting as well. A number of spring bulbs were on display here. A lot of them in which we've seen, but it gives you a good idea of what the common ones look like if you are creating a new palette for fall. Of course, the black tulip was my favorite, but I also saw a red one with an orange fringe on the edge that I definitely think I will be adding at some point. You can also see here that they had the crocus in the lawn and these really cute sculptures out of, I believe, recycled materials of rabbits and deer and trellis. And then connecting to that was this really interesting display of houseplants that were in a space theme. And I could not get over how big that beautiful uh, bird nest fern was. Sorry, stumbled on the name there. They also had these beautiful slipper orchids coming out of some type of space material, and all the funky colored moss to go with it. I love this orchid. And then a satellite and a rotating moonlander. The only peony that I saw that was in bloom and that I actually liked, I thought it was pretty. And then they had a section of doors here to give you inspiration on how to decorate this year. Some interesting out of the box ideas. I don't necessarily think that a lot of these door hangers would be conventional unless maybe like on a back door. And then this, oh my goodness, I could not get enough of this floral display. Adding this philodendron to my must-have houseplants. There were a number of houseplants in this area. A lot of them were variegated, but I liked this begonia, of course, because it was dark leaved. And then there was this variegated, I believe maybe a windmill palm. Excuse me, I'm not up to date on my houseplant names, but I can appreciate them. This little geranium caught my eye, and I love how it's overspilling in that tiny pot, and just like that ivy was as well. And that orchid caught my eye from across the display area. These were all entries for the show for participating members. A lot of interesting stuff I haven't seen, such as this plant and this one as well. I thought they were really cool. And then I've seen this one before, I believe it being sold at Logi's, some type of lantern tree of some sort, but it was really cool being braided up as a tree. As you exited out of the competition area, we were looking at some of the shadier woodland garden displays that were over by the marketplace area. I really liked this. This looks like there's some Amsonia storm cloud, hostas, ferns, Father Gilla. There was even GMs in there, that little yellow flower I showed you. And then they used some Angelonia, which I'm not quite sure would be really great for a shady situation, but it might be worth a try. And then as you can see coming up here, they took a tree and flipped it upside down and were using roots as the canopy, and that was really cool to me. This is where the show can either make or break me at this point, because I'm always interested in getting stuff actually for my garden. Hudson Valley Seed Company had these Goth Garden seed packets. I picked up these two and I only walked up the silver sunflowers, but I noticed a lot of vendors were stuff that wasn't necessarily garden related. So I tried to showcase what was actually garden related, what, I think it was an acceptable vendor, but there was a number of them that were just not garden related. We did stop at this and we did pick up one of the hanging hummingbirds. We couldn't resist. We like stuff that catches light and we thought they were super, super cute. Like I said before, tons of houseplants and frankly, overpriced. I mean, you could easily buy these outside of the show for half, if not a third of the price that they were selling them for there.
So, if you need to step on it, you grab something up high. If you're in the garden or cleaning the rims of a car, you need to be down low. My 1-year-old granddaughter. Any height from here to here, you can make it. They weigh 2.5 pounds and they hold over 400. It has a strap that's adjustable and you can wear it cross-body. They're 1 for 40, 2 for 73 for the 100. And it also has a non-slip grip underneath. So this way, if you're on the wet grass, it's not going to slide out from underneath.
Loved this orchid, but I didn't buy it. And then the last display that we came across was an oriental themed one with a lot of rattan. I noticed that they put a lot of mint in the bottom of their garden, and I hope nobody thinks that's okay to plant mint in the ground, so please keep it in a pot or you'll regret it. But that wrapped up the show. We got back on the road to head home. It was a fun time getting to meet up with Yuliya and Brooke and spending the day looking at gardens. Actually, the last 2 days looking at gardens. I would say overall the show was cool. I've seen it. I don't think that I'll be coming back to it because it was a 7-hour trip for us. And yeah, we'll see. But I hope you enjoyed the video. Bye.